So let's begin our talk tonight about the AFC South.
Let's go.
Not a particularly strong division. We got the Titans, the Colts, the Texans, and Jaguars. Who do we think is the favorite coming out of this one, boys?
The Houston Texans, 100%. It's going to be the Houston Texans, C.J. Stroud, and a guy that his sophomore year wasn't as strong as his freshman year, but it was pretty damn good. C.J. Stroud is absolutely for real. Nico Collins is one of the best underrated wide receivers in the league. You can see it if you play in fantasy right now. He's one of the top 5 fantasy guys right now. And honestly, when you look at the weapons that they have and what they're going to provide this year, they don't have the running game with Joe Mixon, but they added Chubb. I think Chubb is going to give him a significant, decent running game. But again, C.J. Stroud is a guy that's not only a pocket-present quarterback. He's going to step in. He's going to step out. He's going to use his legs. He's got a tremendous amount of weapons. And by the way, one of the more underrated defenses in all of football. Top 5, top 6 defenses in football. I love the Texans in this division. I could see them winning 10 or 11 games.
Yeah, definitely 10 or 11 games has to be the window when you look at the way that they've improved a lot on that front seven. They're one of the best probably pass-rushing duos when you look at Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson, combined with the fact that, like you're saying, even though they have some receivers hurt, they still drafted 2 of them. The only thing that concerns me a little bit is the offensive line. Obviously, losing Tunsil in the offseason, they haven't really drafted well at those positions. They have a couple rookies that they're trying to work in. So that might be the only thing holding them back from maybe taking that big leap like we're thinking the Broncos could do. But their defense is very complete, too, obviously paying Stingley. Jalen Petrie is a very underrated safety as well. And they're a linebacker factory with D'Amico Ryans there.
I love Ryans. And Ryans is one of the guys that I think was up for Coach of the Year last year. Very well deserved to be a top 3 Coach of the Year and had a chance again to take his team far into the playoffs. Again, they had a lot of injuries last year. They're going into the season with some losses, and their wide receiving core that they thought they were going to have for the next 3 to 4 years, they're missing one big name. They did add Hollins in the draft. I think Hollins is going to play a big part in their offense. He could be the number 2 on this team with Nico Collins. We'll see. But I like the Texans. I think they're going to be explosive. And again, a defense that can shut you down.
Yeah, I think C.J. Stroud is just going to get better, too. I think it's always funny when you talk about, like, coaches of the year, too, and I know it's kind of a side note, but, like, what do you think, like, sets – like, he's deserving of coach of the year, but, like, there's got to be something that sets, like, him apart, like the X's and O's or just, like, what he's built with the team?
There were no expectations for that Texans team in 2023 when they made the playoffs. They were supposed to be – they were the number 3 pick in the draft. They drafted Will Anderson. They traded up. They had – expectations to improve, but they were never expected to be anywhere close to a playoff team.
Don't forget about their special teams being pretty excellent as well. Mm-hmm. You got Amy Fairbairn, one of the bigger legs in the NFL. Townsend, pretty good punter. They were ranked 6th, tied for 6th in the NFL at specials as well. It's just a really well-coached team with some really good young talent, expecting them to get better. I love the 2 Iowa State receivers they took, especially Higgins. I think they're going to both play a big impact with them if that passing game really takes off this year. They got the Steelers at plus 550. Not a lot of faith in your boy A-Rod, Errol, after his performance in MetLife Stadium last year.
I like the kid Johnson that they drafted in the 3rd round, the running back. I think he's going to be the starting running back. I know everybody keeps thinking that it's going to be Warren, and he's going to run away with because he could be a 3-back type of running back, and that's why they decided to move Najee Harris and not bring him back. I think obviously it's going to be Johnson. I think he's going to be the number 1 guy, and it's going to be Warren again, where you're going to be able to move him around. He can catch the ball in the backfield. The question is, who's the number 2 guy as the wide receiver? We know DK Metcalf is there. We understand that they have 2 tight ends there. Their offensive line is fairly good. And Mike Tomlin, is this his final year? Because I know he's under contract. I know he extended his contract. But if he has another year where he gets knocked out, if they don't make the playoffs, but if they make the playoffs and get knocked out in the 1st round, oh, my God. Yeah, you can't bring him back. 9 straight years being knocked out in the 1st round. I just there's no depth. They're a good defensive team. They're always a great defensive team with TJ Watt there. They're going to be explosive on the defensive line, and they have very good secondary in Porter as well. So I think they're going to be fine. And they made that trade for trading Fitzpatrick in the offseason?
Yeah.
So
Jalen Ramsey, your boy.
Jalen Ramsey is going to play a big part on the secondary and the defensive side of the ball. I think they're going to be a prolific top-end defense, but offensively, are they going to be able to do enough? And I think they're structured to just be an all-world running team. A guy like Aaron Rodgers isn't the same guy he was when he was with Green Bay.
Yeah, it's a bad fit because also DK Metcalf wants to stretch the field, and he doesn't really have an elaborate route tree like the whole thing on different levels. And Aaron Rodgers needs that type of guy at this point in his career. Fish, what you were mentioning with the tight ends, too, I was curious on, like, maybe do they go that, right? I loved Darnell Washington out of the draft at the time when they got him, but he's been a lot of injury issues. They still got Freiermuth there, and now you got Jonnu Smith. So I see an 8-9 win team.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be that good job, but what do you think?
I kind of just want to see Aaron Rodgers go give the big middle finger to everybody, to be honest with you, just because I think it'll be hilarious. But I think he'll find a way to scratch probably 7 or 8 wins. I don't see any more than that.
I think it's the last year at Tomlin. If they don't get to 500, it'll be the first time in his career. I think that's going to happen this year. I think he's going to be out. But let's move on to the top 2 teams in this division. The Ravens are sitting at minus 150 at the top of the division with the Bengals, I'm assuming with no faith in their defense whatsoever, at plus 240, despite the fact Joe Burrow might be a guy who can throw for 5,000 yards this year.
Derrick Henry has to stay healthy. They need Derrick Henry to stay healthy and do not exactly what he did last year, but Lamar Jackson, we know what he can do offensively. The defense is going to be elite. We know they can go at it, and they can compete with anybody offensively and defensively. They're a good running team. The question is, and I'll go back to it, the depth of their wide receiving core. Do they have enough? They couldn't really show up in the playoffs. They haven't showed up in the playoffs back-to-back years as far as the wide receivers are concerned. If they show Bateman stays healthy and they can do more on the offensive side of the ball with deep throws, Baltimore is going to be the best team in the AFC. I don't think you can argue that. They've got everything. And Lamar Jackson is by far the best best quarterback in the NFL. I don't think you can argue that. Two-way guy that can use mobility and his arm strength to dominate a game.
Yeah, the defense filled with the biggest thing they needed. Malachi Stark's out of the draft. They had trouble guarding slot receivers. They get more corner depth as well, bringing in Jair Alexander. Receiving depth, I agree with you, is a bit of a concern. We'll see what DeAndre Hopkins is. But Bateman, when he was healthy last year, was very good. I agree. This is the best team in the AFC if they can stay healthy.
And the Bengals, by the way, they got nothing defensively. I have no idea how they're going to stop any other team. They're going to have to put up 40, 50 points, which they can. Joe Burrow, Higgins, and obviously Jamar Chase. They got Chase Brown, who could probably run the ball. He's so overrated. I don't know why anybody thinks a guy like Chase Brown is one of the elite running backs in the league. But nevertheless, the offensive line is, they're going to be able to put up points. Defensively, Trey Hendrickson might not even stay there. He might be traded at the trade deadline. They did extend him. They gave him a 1-year, $30 million deal. I think he's underpaid for, to me, one of the best pass rushers in all of football. So that's what I got to say about the Bengals. They're not even making the playoffs. I think they fall out. They miss the playoffs.
Lamar Jackson being able to address what people said he wasn't great at, and he's become an above-average thrower now. So hats off to him to be able to spread spread the field, to be able to not only be one-dimensional, but go and do floor, field, same thing, right?
All right. To the AFC East, how bad do you think the Jets are dogs in this division?
I will say this. Losing Elijah Vera Tucker today for the season definitely hurts the New York Jets, especially what they're going to do with Justin Fields and running the ball. You expected that this offensive line is going to be the strength of this team. I still think it's a strength. You didn't lose your tackles, but losing a guard of that magnitude, a guy that was looking to get a contract in the offseason, this was his 5th year, and the Jets were talking about maybe extending him. I don't think they can. And now I'm hearing they're moving Tippmann possibly to the guard position and moving Myers as their center. I think that works. I think Tippmann's a better guard for his size than he is as a center. But again, I thought that this team was going to have that depth. Now, as far as the defense, this is going to be an elite defense. There's no question. I think Will McDonald is going to be one of the elite guys in the league when it comes to sacks. I think he's going to go at you, and he's going to be able to attack. He's got many different ways to beat you on the outside. He added 15 pounds of muscle in the offseason. offseason. And now you have Jermaine Johnson. Whenever he comes back this year, is it week 3 or week 4, he's going to add that depth as far as the run defense. And they added guys. They made moves before the season in Phillips. I think they're going to be able to stop the run this year. So if they can get the triple team off of Quentin Williams can have one of his best seasons. I think he's right behind the one Dexter Lawrence, Sexy Dexy. I think he's the second best defensive tackle in football. So we want to see more Quentin Williams. We want to see what they could do. Justin Fields, he can have a season. I think Aaron Glenn is the real deal. I think he's a great guy. I think they're going to be able to run the ball. Wide receivers, no depth whatsoever. I want to see what Taylor can do all season long. A young tight end, it usually takes 3 years for him to develop, but I think he's going to be fun to watch. Garrett Wilson will be fun. If you drafted him, he's going to put up 1,000 yards. He's going to give you about 9 or 10 touchdowns. But Justin Fields is the secret to the success of this offense. So
better than the Dolphins?
Yes, better than the Dolphins.
I actually have the opposite. I have them better than the Patriots because I think the Patriots are a little overhyped this year.
Yes, I think so too.
I think they had a lot of free agents that they brought in. It's a lot of new all at once, especially with a new coaching staff. They overpaid a lot of defensive players, in my opinion, and their offense maybe got a little better, but I don't know how much better that they got. The Jets, to me, have a lot more real threats on offense, like Errol was saying. The offensive line, besides the Bills in this division, is easily way better than the Patriots and the Dolphins. I don't think they're a playoff team, the Jets, but this reminds me of like the 2022 Lions. They're going to be in every game, establish a team culture, a 7-8 win team that's going to be very tough to beat. If they can get any level of a passing game, like a top 15 type passing game, they're a playoff team easily.
Do you think 8 wins is realistic for the Jets?
No. I think the Jets, in a good season, 7 wins will be a good season for a guy like Aaron Glenn. I don't think they get to 8 this year. A lot of people think they can win 10 the way the schedule is set up for them. I just don't. I don't think they have enough wide receivers. I think that's what they look in the draft next year. They look for a quarterback who probably is the future. We were talking about that yesterday with Mr. Booty. I expect that's where the Jets go with that and wide receiver. That's what they're missing. Maybe they make a trade for Myers if he becomes available, or maybe Olave, because we've heard Olave wants to move, and him and Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson are very close. So if the Jets can add Olave at some point, then we're talking about maybe a borderline 9-win team. But without that secondary wide receiver, no, I don't see it. I don't see it all. I do believe they're a top 3 defense, though.
Well, guys, we have one obvious favorite in this division, and it's the Buffalo Bills, sitting at minus 270 to win the division. Very many people think of them as Super Bowl favorites going into the season from the AFC, at least to get there, right? A lot of people picking the Eagles, but that would be a pretty interesting matchup. Josh Allen seems to be unstoppable to the naked eye. He was able to beat the Chiefs in that snow game during the regular season, couldn't get away with it by the skin of the knuckles of Dalton Kincaid not being able to make that catch in the postseason. Pretty close to being a perfect throw as well. In an impossible play with Spags with the corner blitz out of nowhere. We talked to a lot of people at the Super Bowl about that play. Guys, how good are the Bills? And are they Super Bowl, possibly Super Bowl
It's
favorites?
all about their defense. And again, this goes to coaching. This might be the final year of their head coach. If this team does not go to a Super Bowl and they fall short once again, they went to an AFC title game and lost against the same Kansas City Chief team. They're better than Kansas City. They are still one of the elite teams in the AFC. I think they're the second best team right behind Baltimore. They have the defense. They have the running game. They paid Cook in the offseason. I want to see Cook be used in important parts of the game. They stopped running the ball against Kansas City in the AFC title game when they were absolutely killing Kansas City in the run game. And by the way, I want to see Coleman actually take that next step as a number 1 wide receiver. They don't really have enough depth on the wide receiving, so they got to depend on Kincaid to be that guy and be that guy that's going to be consistent, which she was inconsistent last year as the number 1, I think, pass catcher for the Buffalo Bills. So I do believe they're for real. I think they're a 10, 11-win team. They are a Super Bowl contender. Josh Allen gets married. Looks very, very happy. Hard Knocks. They look like they're a fun team to watch. But McDermott is on the hot seat, boys. And I think if this team doesn't start off strong from the gates, they're going to have a problem.
Yeah, well, it's one thing I'm worried about. I'll make it quick because our guess is in. The secondary is the biggest thing because they can't draft corners to save their life. Safeties they've had issues with. It's weird to think, like when McDermott started, they had a great secondary. Now they have a great pass rush and don't have the secondary. So they're going to need a couple veteran pieces. I agree with you. Ravens 1, Bills 2, Chiefs 3, and Broncos 4 for me in the AFC.